Welcome back, guys. We are here at the 2020 Midseason Cup, and we just got through Fun Plus Phoenix up against Top Esports. Fun Plus Phoenix coming out on top, and that means our entire group of 4 teams is tied at 1-1, which means with 2 games left, there will be 2 teams that make it up to the next round. Whoever wins stays. Whoever loses goes, and it's 2 best-of-1s to decide exactly that. That's all you need to know. We've seen that Damwon are able to pull off upsets up against a team like T1. They can certainly do it here up against Fun Plus Phoenix.
Yeah, so we'll see what they have in store in this game, because this is going to be do or die for Damwon, as there's not going to be any changes to their lineup. They're going to be on blue side this time. So we'll see what kind of a draft approach they end up taking. They managed to pull off a pretty big miracle comeback against T1, who really punted that game away. I would honestly, that was a throw. That was a 4-pointer if it existed.
Is it a punt or is it a throw?
It's a 4-pointer.
What is that?
It's whatever that game was.
Oh man.
Yeah.
A half-court shot.
Longer than that. Full court shot.
Oh man.
Well, Damwon. Let's see if they put a barrel on Karma again. That would...
If they do that. That's it. We're done. That's the end of the day.
We just
Sorry,
walk
guys.
out,
We
yeah.
just canceled. The League of Legends is canceled for today. Sorry. I mean, at least he didn't die 7 times in the second time he played it.
True.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of improvement there.
So here's FPX coming immediately off of their game. So they're going to be warmed up and adjusted, probably eager to get immediately back into it. Now, interestingly enough, this matchup, I'm curious to see what actually is going to happen, because Khan versus Nuggery and ShowMaker in the mid lane is just so scary as a player. But Canyon, can he locate his coin? Can he flip?
Yeah.
Like he knows how to. He knows
Are you saying he's going to play Gangplank?
No, he's going to coin flip. Are you kidding?
Oh.
As if there was any other way.
Yeah. Well, he liked the Lee Sin in game number 2 that he played. Maybe he'll throw it out here again up against Tien. That would be interesting to see. As that's a nice little ring that DWG's got on. Probably not the only one he owns. As, yeah, just talking about the game here before we do get started. I feel like this, Damwon is definitely like top 3 teams that are similar to LPL teams.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. In the LCK. I don't know who I would say is number 1. Maybe like APK or something. At the LCK. Would be the most like an LPL team.
Maybe, yeah. Actually, interestingly enough.
Yeah. They're a nice little addition. They
Yeah.
add some action into the league. But
Yeah.
we're not at the LCK. We're at the MSC. And that means that we will have Damwon, who is a team that is like an LPL team, but is not quite, up against an LPL team in Fun Plus Phoenix here, as they will be starting on the blue side.
Well, see what their ban is going to be on blue. As Rumble gets banned away first. And now FPX is banning away Vars. And again, it's still really hard to try to gauge where their heads are at when it comes to just the initial bans. The Elise now getting banned away as well. FPX going to ban away the Ezreal. So I guess the AD carry pool is getting pinched a little bit. They might be trying to zone in on Ghost as a weak point. Maybe they ban away Aphelios or Senna as their last ban.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind an Aphelios ban, to be honest. That would be pretty nice as well for the fans because it ups the chance that Ghost will play Draven. He's one of the only players that does play the Draven. And speaking of which, that's another 80 carry that gets taken away here. This time by Damwon Gaming. So it's going to be an interesting choice for FPX. Got a nice little smirk there by Khan. I thought maybe we'd see another 80 carry. Why is he smiling like that? Zoe gets taken off the board. It makes sense against ShowMaker. I like that final ban. Yeah, Nuggery
Well,
thinking about what he's going to pick for his team here.
Zoe,
Oh boy.
having been removed, maybe... I was going to say, well, Syndra is actually not going to get picked up immediately by Damwon, as I don't know why they are prioritizing the Karma as heavily as they are, and now Senna is getting hovered. Will she get locked in by FPX? Is the question here. And the answer is yes. So,
Senna set.
Senna set could be on the menu, but Graves is going to get locked in first. So now Damwon have to come up with an answer to the Graves.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be seeing the Lee Sin this time around. Maybe something like an Olaf is something they could consider with the Karma. It's not a Yumi. And we have been seeing a lot of Olaf, but instead it's just going to be Aphelios Syndra. So it's almost absolutely Aphelios in the bottom lane. So Syndra should be picked up here by ShowMaker, you'd have to imagine.
And it looks like Maokai... Now, this is a champion that, again, he can be flexed. He can go top lane or he can go support with the Senna. And things are already looking really good for FPX right now. But one thing is that they're all really short range. They're very heavy emphasis on hard engage, and that does grant Aphelios exactly what he wants. And Syndra is not minding the current setup the way that it is. So now we move into the ban phase here. Trundle gets banned away, but you should... If you're FPX, you should want Damwon to pick Trundle.
Yeah.
The way that your team composition currently is, as well as the dynamic of the jungle matchup. So, a very surprising ban there.
They say Trundle strong.
Oh, okay.
We ban Trundle.
So, were you speaking like... Were you speaking like, I can't even remember his name. Planet of the Apes, because you were anticipating the Wukong ban?
Yes,
Okay.
that must have been it. That makes a lot of sense.
It does make sense.
Especially after the last game.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that that's what I was going for, but apparently, thank you for letting me know. Lee Sin gets banned away too, as you would have to imagine that after skipping jungle in the first roundabout, you would see a ton of jungle bans, no doubt.
Well, Lee Song does get kicked to the curb. As Damwon now, they're banning away TF. So I guess not wanting to play against it also is good against the Sandra. Now, Aurelia is still open, as that could be an option, but it doesn't really strike me as a do and be kind of champion. So Galio is being hovered. Now that is a do and be kind of champion.
Yeah.
And he is going to end up getting locked in.
Yeah, Galio comes in here. You mentioned the flexibility. I mean, there is a small chance that, you know, Maokai top, Galio bot, and then they last pick. But I mean, they already know they're going up against a Syndra. I don't think there's really too much of a reason to go for that. Save your counter pick for top. As the Olaf is being hovered here, I mentioned this before. All these Asian teams, they love the Olaf, especially the LCK teams. And a Jace. LS, ecstatic about this pick. I can see him over there. He's loving it.
So
they didn't lock it in just yet, though.
The thing here is that if Damwon does lock in this chase, they've basically committed themselves to a 2-item life expectancy plan here. As
again,
this is the same exact thing. FPX are basically beating them in every single role when it comes to the scaling. So the Jace has to now win lane. He has to win lane hard. The Syndra has to win lane. She has to win lane hard. The jungler has to get something meaningful, but the problem is that Galio can sort of cheat laning phase against Syndra. Graves can keep up with Olaf. Graves is more valuable than Olaf at basically every point. And Senna Maokai is pretty hard to move. So FPX, not only do their champions pound for pound outscale Damwon's pretty much across the board, it's also super unrealistic to expect that Damwon should just be able to roll over the lanes, even though that's what these champions are intended to do and the jungle matchup would ideally want. We could see a pretty identical mirror to some of the games that we've seen here earlier on tonight, in that bot in mid lane tries to get reliable priority, converts it into 1 or 2 Dragon Souls, and then there starts to be resistance around the third, and then things fall apart. I mean, this is Damwon 101 yet again. So when they lose, they'll go and, it was the draft's fault again.
Yeah.
Just like they did in, the previous series. So
Dom 101. That's what we're seeing here. And that's the good thing about Damwon. You always know what you're going to get, basically. It's the same thing over and over and over again. FPX, though, definitely willing to change some things up. See the Galio here in the Camille. Final pick there for Khan. Up there into the Jace, so until he's comfortable in the matchup, he's going to be looking to get aggressive once again. It's similar to the Wukong in some ways, in the direction that it does go. As we see, we are ready to jump into the game. Let's do it right now. Who is that? Is that Olaf?
you leave him alone.
You're very loud, Olaf.
ShowMaker
Simmer
didn't
down.
skill a point yet. As Khan is going to be on the Camille. So, mostly what we're paying attention to here is, can ShowMaker get something meaningful here against DWG in mid in the first 10 minutes or so. Now, ShowMaker's also taking cleanse, which is really unfortunate. Means that he's going to be much more strapped inside of the lane, and DWG is even more free to play a War of Attrition in an econ game against ShowMaker's mana pool. And, alright, he's going to start the lane off just shoving right away. And blow for blow. Doesn't that skin looks like Deoxys, right? You don't even just...
What?
Just don't even think anymore. Just don't even...
Who's that? Is that a superhero?
No one likes you. No one likes you. My PayPal statement didn't come in yet from you. I'm not your friend.
Sorry, Ellis.
Alright, well. Tien is going to be solo starting on the blue side, clearing out his entire jungle. You can see the ping is going down by Damwon, notifying the teammates to where the Graves could be at.
It looks like ShowMaker... Did he push a little bit too fast? You think he's going for the cheater?
No. He pushed too quickly to actually go for a cheater recall. And also, if he would be going for a cheater, he probably already would have popped the second corrupting pot. Now, he can still cheater on 4. So if we identify this wave as wave 3, or wave C, then you pop both your corrupting potions and you blow your entire load on the wave 4. You spend all of your mana, everything, on just shoving it as rapidly as possible and then recalling. And if you do that well, you can actually get Boots plus Darkseal, which is really nice. Whereas if you cheater on wave 3, generally you get Darksteel plus Control Ward. So there's some difference. It mostly just depends like what you want. However, if we're playing here, what we want is to be locked into a laning phase with a Galio that has teleport while down 2 corrupting potions and not really achieving anything here. So,
is that what we want?
The winning line.
Yeah, well, apparently. Yeah, he doesn't have TP either, so he's going to get into the spot where he runs at a sustain. And Doinby, you know, he's got the Darksteel and the Charm. So he just sits here. He's always going to have more mana. He's always going to have more pushing power.
Yeah.
And Syndra is eventually going to lose out on something.
So because Syndra didn't elect for a cheater recall on wave 3 or 4, she's now in this spot where Galio gets the crash on this wave and then gets the pullback. Now Galio has complete control on the wave, and if you look at the gold that Syndra had, it's the same thing that could have been achieved, but without letting Galio have any sort of a say.
Yeah.
So
he missed so much XP. Also, he's going to be way behind the play. I mean, look at this. They're looking for a dive. But Nuggery and Canyon very expertly trying to stop the dive here, but the burst is too much. Khan with the Beta-Reno there saying, well, you got to come at me. And he is going to survive as well. Canyon not quite. Okay, he's going to deny it back for now. It's interesting. He knows that Khan is still in that bush. He's going to keep the wave there. We'll see if Nuggery wants to use that for any kind of freezing shenanigans or anything like that. Looks like he might.
The wave is now still pretty good for Galio. It's going to be piling up now as he returns to the lane. Yeah. And he can use that to crash and push into Syndra. So if we take a look at the replay, and all of this is a byproduct of ShowMaker's poor mismanagement of the wave. And the reason that there's emphasis on ShowMaker here is because Syndra's the one with autonomy. She's the one that gets to decide what's going to actually happen on those initial waves. Galio doesn't get a say. So Doinby capitalizes on the opportunity presented, crashes the wave, makes the roam, makes the good play, and punishes ShowMaker's lack thereof of wave management on the first 4 waves. And already the game is off to a really troubling start here for Damwon because their lanes all needed to win. And thus far, you're not really winning. You look at the items that Syndra has versus the items Galio has. I mean, it's the Grand Canyon in mid lane right now.
Yeah, and it's you know, it's a bird versus whatever Syndra is. I think she's a human. And
she's from the Void.
Oh well, you know.
Well,
with human
actually, I don't
as well.
know. She looks like Sindel from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah, of course. I know who that is as well.
You don't know anything. You're so...
Sindel. You probably just, like, made up a random character. I wouldn't be surprised if you've done that before. You just, like, make up a random character and you just, like, use it to make fun of me. Like, oh, you don't know, like, who Gardon is? Like, what? Come on, Valdez. Lol. It's a great idea, actually. You should probably use that.
Oh, man, yeah.
Ooh,
sounds good.
Goes at the cleanse there.
Well, Infernal Dragon's going to be the second one of the game. And this has a lot of action so far.
Whoa,
okay, here comes Galio. He's a big boy.
Doinby's done this before as, okay, trying to get the knockback on a Doinby. He's going to die. No, he's not, actually. He gets out of dodge there. I thought that last turret hit would have hit him, but it did not. And that means that Damwon Gaming feel forced here now to dive on the bottom side.
Yep.
But it's a much smaller wave. Let's see how they handle it here. Exhaust on LWX. He should be going down. And the Olaf is going to be able to flash to safety. So at least they do get the 1 kill. I think they could probably get Chris, but not quite going to go for it.
The issue is that the Maokai is just so tanky, and Chris still has flash available. So with their HP values being the way that it is, it's too risky to try to coordinate a dive. And there's not enough value in getting the kill there. So FPX, I mean, they still make out much better because the Camille is getting ahead of the Jace. Jace is getting put into the grave, and Jace isn't a champion that can be, or that can afford to be in the grave. And take a look at Nuguri. He tries to outplay this by knocking back Doinby, but manages to escape the turret aggro range, and so it swaps to Graves, and he just ends up killing the Jace with the R. So this dive ended up being coordinated by Damwon. They managed to bite back a little bit, but it's not even remotely comparable to the pain that's being inflicted on the top side, because the Camille is just in such a nice spot right now.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. We've talked about this a lot in the LCK rotations for the Rift Herald at 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Where the bottom lane is going to lose a lot of XP, and the enemy bottom lane is going to get ahead in XP and gold that from the plates and all this good stuff.
Jace is maybe going to be able to get there to get the cannon, but already there's 3 melees that have already been lost. If he ends up getting zoned out and missing this entire wave, that's 3 waves going into the void. So you subtract the 3 waves plus the turret plates that Senna and Maokai are getting.
Oh, look at Canyon. Just frontlining here, but in goes Khan. Not sure about that one. Maybe if his Q had come right off cooldown, it would have been good enough, but oh, Beryl just gonna get assassinated, but it is a trade in the kills. He says, I'm not going down without a fight, and that was his moment. As we are just splitting the map right now. 1 for 2 kills, though, in favor of Damwon. As, yeah, I was going to say, they still have the Rift Herald. They were waiting for it, so they're going to put it down on the top side and get that full crash down. So, lots of gold now in the pockets, especially of Ghost and ShowMaker, so it ends up being pretty nice for Damwon.
End up walking out of this so far with a 1.2k gold lead, roughly. Nuguri is still down in the XP department. Still level 7. Khan has been in level 8 for a little while now. The bottom tier 1 turret is still alive. Khan goes in onto Beryl, who has bone plating. And so doesn't take as much damage. Khan tries to cancel with Hextech Ultimatum onto Canyon. Not quite able to find a kill. Tien goes in, trades onto the Karma, knowing that he was dead anyway.
Yeah.
And now coming back into live, FPX, I mean, they're down 1,000 gold, but it's not the end of the world. Graves has all of the kills. The Galio is sitting very comfortable. 1 minute until Infernal Drake.
Yeah, the Drakes are going to be important. It's either going to be Cloud or Mountain Soul that do end up coming out here on this Rift. Got a pretty tanky lineup on the side of FPX, actually. The Maokai, the Galio, of course, could build some tanky items. And even the Graves with his Ninja Tabby. But we'll have to see which one does end up coming out here, as Damwon Gaming just going to group up in the mid lane. And it doesn't look like they're going to get that plate at the end of the day. Just posturing here for the Infernal Drake that's about to spawn.
Still 2 minutes until turret plates do end up disappearing. Infernal's up, but Graves is on the opposite side of the map, so FPX actually just giving this up for free, and this is a very big turnaround of events, which is very beneficial for Damwon. They want to really roll Mountain here, and they did. So things are starting to brighten up if you are a Damwon fan. Khan, though, is the ticking time bomb on the side of FPX. He's been sitting on the Sheen for so long. He must have such a big recall in his pocket. And so we'll see what he ends up managing to buy once he touches down on Fountain. Ghost trying to get another turret plate.
There we go. Okay. It's Tabby, Phage, and that's about it for now. You probably shouldn't wait in lane until you can full buy, outside of a Sheen, a Trinity Force. But yeah, you can see FPX's plan with the Galio. It's like, always threaten top lane, make this Jace into nothing.
Yep.
And they have done a good job of that. They are getting Khan a good amount of farm, a lot of plates up there already, 3 given over to him. And Galio hasn't missed too much at the end of it. You can see the immediate pings that do come in when the Galio does go missing. And now you can see Canyon is coming in here to just try to hard push the lane and force DWG to stay here.
Well, 3.5 minutes until Mountain is going to end up coming up. Graves trying to make his way to the Black Cleaver as his next item. Senna is continuing on with the Frozen Mallet first item. ShowMaker gets the blue buff. Still on the Lost Chapter. And the gold score is very close. It's 500.
Yeah, it's a pretty close game at this point in time. I feel like, you know, there's some nice advantages to Damwon. Obviously, Khan is pretty fed on the side of FPX as that kind of split pushing carry, and you can see a late game where the Jace isn't really going to be able to stand up to her. But this mid game is really going to decide, you know, who's going to get the big advantage coming into this one. If Damwon pick up a Mountain Drake, get a couple kills, how much is Khan really going to be able to do? But if FPX start coming back, they get some, you know, nice ganks down with the Galio, then, you know, they can start to get their own Mountain Drakes, they can start to control the map, look for picks with, I mean, you've got Maokai Galio alone, not to mention the Camille, the Senna's even decent at it. I feel like a lot of this game is going to be decided within the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Damwon can end up actually getting that Mountain and then forcing such an early soul, things get really scary. Everything just spirals out of control from that point. And this would be the second time today that they're actually bailed out by a Mountain Soul.
Nice flash here. The Senna is going to help out under the turret, and the Galio's there as well. Easy Dunkaroony. That's what I would like to call that one. As they're going to pick up the kill, but they're going to get on in there. Tien able to deny any kind of steal attempt by Canyon at the same time. So FPX getting a kill, a turret, a Rift Herald. Crisp here in a little bit of a sad situation. He doesn't want to flash. He is going to have to there at the end of the day, as FPX get a lot of wins here.
Well, gold score now back in FPX's favor ever so slightly. It's going to be a lethality Jace. He has Yumu's. I mean, he's making his way towards the call, which he should be able to complete in the next couple of minutes. But Mountain is in 1 minute. And I'm not sure how close DWG is actually to getting the Zanya's Hourglass. So Syndra with the Luden's Echo. We'll see if she ends up being able to pick up an Oblivion Orb. No one on the enemy team can really afford to itemize any sort of magic resistance early on, so getting to Oblivion Orb, getting that extra magic pen with the Sork Pen boots, super effective. And then when you consider how much HP stack is on the enemy team, at that point you have to ask yourself the question, well, do I really need wave clear if we're ahead, if we're stable, if we're winning? If the answer is no, then you don't need to go Rabadon's Death Cap, especially because all of these fights are so sustained. So all of a sudden, well, take a look at the replay.
Nuggery did a fantastic job, given what he was given. If he really wanted to play it safe, he had to back away from the turret. But, you know, it's Nuggery. He doesn't like giving away minions or turrets or stuff like that. He'd rather give away his life. And that is exactly what did come through. He had Olaf near the top side of the map, so maybe he was thinking, oh, maybe I could turn this into something. But it was not meant to be. As the Mountain Drake is live now. See both teams posturing up here, but FPX have the advantage because they have this Rift Herald. It's a lot of poke damage going down onto the Senna. Tien is not really going to be able to get in here on time. It's going to go to DWG as the smite was early from the side of Damwon Gaming. Ningo's caught into the backline. That's a huge knock-up on a 2. As barely, looks like Beryl is going to get away on the backside. Bit of a thumbs up there from Tien. as FPX are now rolling with a nice little lead.
And that is one of the most unfortunate steals. This could have been Damwon threatening Seoul in just a couple of minutes, and that would give them a lot of value to just all in it, even if it's going to be like a 50-50 or something, because if they get it, they'll probably just win the game. But let's take a look at this one more time. So apparently Galio Q is a pretty nice ability.
Oh, it's
Proto
Belt.
Belt. 14.
Nice item.
The big belt, you know?
I mean, to put out those ability pulses, whatever those things are, it would have to be a pretty big belt. So it doesn't surprise me. And that's gotta hurt, man.
And the thing is that this ultimately buys FPX 5 more minutes to continue to get items. This was a team fight where Galio did not have Zhonya's Hourglass available yet. Graves did not have the Black Cleaver. Khan was still waiting to complete more items, and now everyone just got 5 minutes for free to scale up even more, and this is very problematic because what is Syndra really going to get that's going to be different for the next fight compared to what the FPX team just got across all of their champions? The answer is probably an Oblivion Orb, because she already had the stopwatch, she had the Amp Tome, so she's going to get Cement Pen. Olaf is going to be the same champion, no doubt about it. Jace is not going to get the next lethality item before that next team fight. He's going to be the same champion, and so is the Karma. So there's not a whole lot of change for Damwon, and this is one of the issues that team compositions that tend to spike around 2 items can end up facing, and that they get stuck against enemy team comps if things are not constantly rolling in their favor.
Speaking of rolling, in goes the Maokai ultimate, the rolling hills of the vines coming in as lots of escape abilities used there by Damwon to get out of dodge. Nobody going to use too much though, as Khan is looking for a play down there. He was 2 levels up, now he's 1. Decides against it. Maybe thinking about joining up in the mid lane here as we have a little bit of a, I would call it a K round, but FPX are from the LPL. Everybody just kind of idling around the mid side, farming it up. We got 2 minutes until the Mountain Drake. That will be the real next objective.
Well, everyone just continuing to farm. Runan's Hurricane now completed on Ghost on this Aphelios. For the time being, the Infernal Dragon on Damwon is helping a little bit to mitigate the gold advantage that FPX has, but don't forget that they have a Mountain Drake under their belt, and Graves, I mean, he gets so much armor with his grid, as well as having the Ninja Tab Eyes. Galio is no stranger to getting a lot of resistances, and Maokai as well, so these dragons are really perfect for FPX because it poses a really big problem. The other thing about that one Mountain Drake is that the minuscule amount of magic resistance on the FPX, just getting slight amplification, makes it that much harder for Syndra. And there's the item that I was referencing earlier when I was stating that the enemy didn't really have MR, but they stack a lot of HP, is that Liandry's Torment, if you don't have a need to wave clear, you don't need Death Cap. And Syndra doesn't have any abilities that grant shields or anything like that, which converts to EHP with your AP, so Liandry's in sustained fights, really fantastic.
Khan trying to 1v2 here, didn't notice the Syndra. That's a nice stun. ShowMaker able to pick up the kill. And FPX, they are saying, okay, we don't want to give that up for free, but there's no wave in the mid lane. And so it will just be the kill going the way of Damwon. We do.
20 seconds?
23 seconds on the death timer, 16 on Mountain Drake. So teleport
ooh.
should come up here, though. Speaking of TP, in comes Snuggery. Trying to help out against that Galio's. Now Galio's on the way out. And, okay, trying to get on top of Tian, but I think it's Stuami that might just be the one to go down here. But the Nimbus Cloak, so good. Able to get him to safety there. As in come the rolling Maokai Hills to try to push them away. And now it's time for Khan to TP.
Oh, man.
Oh, he's going to go for the flank. He says he has enough time. Stun comes down, though. That's another TP coming in here. This time it's Doinby looking for Beryl and the rest of the team. He's going to find two. That's a nice amount of Galio burst damage. In goes Khan as well. Can Aphelios do it, though, from behind? They have a good amount of poke and fight back, but it's just not enough. Up against two Mountain Drakes now. FPX is going to take the kill, the Dragon, and move up to the mid lane.
The issue with this is two Mountain Dragons. I mean, this is 12% amp to armor and magic resistance. So at this point, I mean, the lethality on Jace is just getting hit so hard in terms of the stats. Aphelios, he's not getting any sort of armor pen from the items that he's going to be getting. So this is hurting Damwon so much. Syndra is going to start tickling FPX in a bit here. So more and more pressure just getting added. Nuguri whiffing on the cancel of Galio's ultimate. And then right here, I would have assumed that they would just guarantee the kill onto Doinby and then immediately get the Mountain Dragon. I mean, they just have to get it right here. They can't afford to back off. I have no idea what they were thinking. And they just concede it, but then they stick around to team fight, and it's like, well, do one or the other. As doesn't want to go, ended up having the fight brought to them by FPX. And honestly, I think that this is probably the game-deciding moment, because it's not just that they lose the Mountain Drake, it's that they lose the control over everything, and the resistances stifle them that much more. It's really looking doomed here.
The resistances do a lot against what they're packing, so it's going to mean even that much more. As, yeah, I mean, the teleport out of Doinby turned out to be pretty nice. That's a scary Galio with Nimbus Cloak, the teleport changes. It's a lot of fun. It's good stuff. And it's typical Damwon as well. I mean, this is what we were talking about all day long for this team. It's they just can't seem to make a decision, and when they do, it just seems to be like either they go too far in or they get clawed out or something like this. They're a great team, but this kind of play style, if you can call it that, has plagued them for quite a while. As now Khan with the Galio here trying to get that damage down. Nuguri is just going to get proto-belted to death on the backside of that as long. Okay, we're all just dying here. Under the turret, Canyon not really able to do much. It's really all up to Aphelios. Ghost is going to get the one. Can he get the two is the question. He's flashing forward. He's not going to get the kill to go on to Khan as he gets rooted up there. For not for long enough. ShowMaker will come in and help out with the play, but FPX just taking names, taking turrets, making that Jace look even more pitiful in this game.
And I mean, Damwon at this point, the gold score is only 2,000, but if there was a way to accurately describe how far behind, it would be like saying that they're 10K down. Because it's just going to be so hard when FPX can just make plays like this, ignoring turrets, diving completely for free, and their champions just basically get tickled because they're so durable and tanky. Things are just really not looking good. I mean, you have an Olaf too, so Damwon's basically playing 4 versus 5
yeah.
at this point in the game, and we see in live some posturing around Baron. 2,500 gold lead for FPX, another Mountain Dragon coming up in a minute, and they're definitely going to be the decisive victor at that fight as well, and that's 18% amplification to armor and MR. So Olaf is doing nothing with his damage outside of when he lands his true damage. Jace is having his items invalidated. Syndra has no pen right now outside of her Sork pen boots, and then Aphelios is struggling, Karma's tickling them. Everything is just looking really doomed.
Yeah, it's rough, and it's not like it's a team composition that struggles to engage or something like that. Speaking of which, well, that's that's kind of the story of Olaf and Jace up against Camille. I mean, if FPX want to engage, they can flash Maokai, they can taking, you know, the easiest one, sending a Camille with a Galio right behind her. And she's got her stopwatch. I mean, Khan is ready to go anytime, and it seems like that time to go is going to be now on the Mountain Drake for him. This Canyon, he's like trying to somewhat threaten Baron, but FPX knows that's never going to happen.
I really hope that we get a pan to one of the FPX members as this dragon is taken. Okay, 125 armor and 55 magic resist. Oh, okay, yeah, just pan away. Not a big deal. Okay.
Really?
Just remember that, okay? 125 and 55.
Okay.
Next time it goes
Wait,
to
what were
Camille.
the numbers?
Okay, you know what? You're getting real wise here.
Yeah, well, there's, you know, not much else to do in this one. And, yeah, I mean, Khan, he had a fun early game. He had a fun mid game. He's got a couple items. See, they're, you know, they're sending 2 people bot, but I mean, it's going to be rough. Even FPX could control around the Baron. They have total control of the map and the game right now. Even though you do look on the left side and you're like, oh, 202, 212 maybe, but unless we get a true, you know, 200 years moments, like one of these where he just groups all 5 up and just AoE one-shots everybody, unless that happens, which, you know, doesn't really happen too much anymore. It's looking pretty grim for Damwon Gaming.
And, well, just having some ping pong happen pretty much across the board right now, as FPX seem to be really just reserved and cautious with their play right now, knowing that, okay, so she got 12 armor and 4 MR off the last Drake.
Yeah.
That's insane. Almost got a cloth armor.
Yeah.
For free.
That seems fair and balanced.
And then with each level up, obviously, it'll get a little bit bigger. But, I mean, there's another Mountain Drake coming up in 3 minutes. So, quite nice there. Void Staff picked up by Syndra.
Absolutely
So,
necessary.
really good itemization, at least, out of ShowMaker.
He heard you talking about him in the early game, and he's
Yeah.
like, well, I gotta show LS what's up.
That was it, yeah. And not totally sure what Damwon can really do to come back in this game outside of some miracle Syndra multi-man E-stun.
I think it has to come down to the Aphelios, right? Like, here comes Galio, by the way. He's a little bit scary, but they spot it early, so the engage will not work. I'm sure Barrel's just watching the flanks, looking in the fog of war, seeing if there's any teleport set coming down, and keeping track of the timers and all that good stuff. Makes it a little bit easier.
Well, the only thing I think that can bail Damwon out of this game would probably be 200 years. Oh, that is the only thing I can...
Given that amount of time, right? That's a lot of time. A lot of stuff can happen.
I do believe that that would be probably in their best interest in trying to allow that to happen. But FPX, just like in the previous game, seem very content on just letting the game continue to coast towards the inevitable end that is the Mountain Soul. Okay.
You just died, buddy. That's actually really awkward. Camille, as I mentioned before, she's one of these champions that opens up fights for FPX. Now that's gone. Just out of seemingly nowhere. The Syndra, yes, she has good itemization, the ability to do that. Let's see what Tan can do. He's up 3 levels. Barrel here, trying his best to get a fight going, but he's a Karma. He forgot he's not Alistair. Okay, trying to tip away at this. They have the vision, but Noimbi with the stopwatch, they stopped all damage on the Baron. ShowMaker gonna pick up that kill, and that means that FPX will have to back away. And will their passivity come back to bite them as Damwon come in and say, no, we're gonna be proactive. We're gonna look for picks. They get one. seemingly against the grain of this entire game, and it's huge.
A look at this. Wow, I think that's max range by ShowMaker, and the Leandri tick. Getting a lot of value there. 3,100 gold in the shop as FPX felt a little bit desperate to try to contest this Baron, but not able to do anything. And now Damwon, just like in the T1 series, getting a bit of a Hail Mary here to keep things afloat.
And that feels like right down Damwon's alley. Just going in for it. You know, who knows what happens. Maybe we'll get the mechanical outplay. That's why their two solo laners are often mentioned on, you know, top 5, top 10 lists. ShowMaker able to pull it off for his team. And you could tell that Khan did not expect it. I mean, he still got flash. There's just nothing he could do in that situation once you get hit by the stun. Now the push is coming in with the Baron. That's definitely going to be at least one inhibitor as they pick up a Mountain Drake of their own. They are going to back away with this one. We still got a minute and a half on the Baron, but it's a huge gold swing. You can see Damwon ahead, 3,000 gold now. And the game, all of a sudden, is no longer seemingly decided as FPX struggled to finish their games.
Well, 4 minutes until the next mountain will end up spawning. And game's probably going to end up coming down to that. I mean, obviously, in the event of a normal team fight taking place, FPX should still be favored. Baron going to dissipate in about 45 seconds, so it looks like Damwon want to go for one more push, try to get a couple more turrets, as Khan is split pushing up in top lane.
Yeah, there is a ward behind them. I don't know if FPX feel confident to take a fight right now. They're just gonna let the Baron push happen.
Huh?
And they're going for it. They're going for the Nexus right now. Khan is gonna TP, but there is a big engage by Doomit. A lot of AoE damage coming in. The blast by Chris to try to get into that back line, as Doimie is barely gonna survive against the Jays. And they get a couple here. As Damwon Gaming, FPX, they call their bluff immediately, saying, oh, you want to go for our Nexus? Really? And I think ShowMaker is in a lot of trouble here. Doimie able to teleport up to the top side, so they're getting so many objectives while this is going on. They dodge the unlimited power, and in we go. The inhibitors are going down. If they can deny the backs, I think Doimie can end the game by himself.
Oh. Well, Crisp is just going to stop the back of Ghost.
That's
how
scary
many years?
To carry.
Barrel almost there. Another TP.
All they got to do is deny the back. And Ghost knows it.
Yep.
He's like trying desperately to fight, but he's just going to get stunned. He's going to Zhonya's. He's going to look cool as FPX will take the game. Barrel here, well, this is the story of Damwon. They're trying to auto, though. It's a little bit awkward. Do they have the autos? The rest of the team is barreling down bot, and this game is actually not yet over.
Wait, Crisp is living in eternity.
All they need to do is auto the Nexus here. There's LWX and Khan in the backside. They finally do it, as it looked like it was going to happen. FPX do take the victory in a wonky final 5 minutes of that game.
Well, that is going to be all they wrote, or all she wrote for Damwon. And yeah,
feels bad. That's we saw it. We said it before the game started. Whoever wins goes up to the next knockout stage on Saturday. Whoever loses goes down. Damwon nearly fought that one back. You can see ShowMaker is like, oh man, so close. But it did feel like, again, kind of, you know, they weren't going to absolutely win the game from that position, but there was that, again, that last decision. Okay, we're going for the Nexus with Khan with TP. And just that one decision gets them in an awkward spot where they get engaged upon and lose the team fight. And that was why the game ended from there.
Well, they managed to take one game, and in that game versus FPX, they almost managed to actually bring it back from the jaws of defeat, which was very surprising. And so they almost pulled it off twice.
Yeah.
That kind of a comeback, but they always just seemingly get ahead of themselves and manage to throw a half-court shot. I don't really know where to go with that one.
I don't know how they keep doing it. It seems to be, something that plagues the team for so many splits now. This isn't like just one game or 1 year or
they
anything
also
like that.
pretty consistently set themselves up for failure in the drafts. I don't know how many times they walk away from every game, and it feels like in I don't want to say post-game interviews, but like post-content, when stuff comes out later, they'll always blame the draft after a loss, but if they win, they're like, oh, the draft was good, and it's like, no, that's not how that works. Like, sometimes you lose with the winning draft, and sometimes you win with...
Maybe they don't give themselves enough credit.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it must have been the draft. And maybe they don't blame themselves enough either. When the games are lost, which,
Well, for instance, the immediate thing that comes to mind this game is it's not the Jace going 0-4. It's not the end game play. And the thing I worry about is that that's the immediate thing that's brought up in review, right? The first thing that crosses everyone's mind, oh, we shouldn't have pushed the base. Oh, Jace shouldn't have gone 0-4. No, you shouldn't have drafted Jace in the first place. Like, let's start right there.
Yeah.
ShowMaker shouldn't have just fumbled wave 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Right? Is this ever going to get brought up? The answer is probably no. The reality is that it won't be brought up. So the assessment of what is really going on inside of the game is probably just not going to be there, and it creates this endless cycle of just really confusing mistakes that just will continue to plague them. I mean, it's been like this now for over a year. Damwon has had the same problems, and changing the AD carry, Ghost does grant them a lot more freedom and definitely some more power, but it doesn't fix the core underlying problem that it's still the ShowMaker Nuggery show, and they either show up or they don't, and that's all there really is to it. Everything else is sort of like shooting bullets in the dark, and they had some surprising games here today.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Ghost, he felt bad after the game, but I mean, we saw a lot of these team fights. He's actually doing a lot of work. Probably had a pretty nice damage number, even against the insane engage on the side of FPX, who, by the way, we should give some credit. They make it on to the next stage. And what's funny is that the one team that Damwon defeated was T1.
Yeah.
They could actually be the ones that knocked T1 out of the tournament. With, they take them down with them, essentially. And
down with the ship.
Yeah, down with the ship. You go to the ship, you're going down with the ship. That's the way it goes. And this is this last decision where it's like, okay, you're all going to group up for a ton of AoE damage. You're desperately trying to push in. But you force the TP, you got to disengage.
What if this is the ship?
Yeah.
The mid-season cup is the ship.
Oh, this is the ship?
This is it. They were letting us know the entire
they
time.
They went to the ship. Yeah. All these guys are at the ship then.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
we thought maybe here for just one moment that, we'd have a crazy 26 HP Nexus or something like that. Didn't end up happening. You see, like I was saying, Ghost did a lot of damage, and so did ShowMaker, and even the Jace, who got super far behind, as Nuggery does, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't a game that was decided by damage. Damage is, it's kind of just a number you flash to your friends.
The thing that's a little bit worrisome for FPX, though, is how reserved they were in some of their games was definitely a bit startling relative to their lead. And while you can definitely err on the side of caution, at some points they just fumble it. Like, obviously, with Khan dying randomly. Now, obviously, you didn't expect it from the Syndra. That was very, very close. And ShowMaker also did just, I think, land everything pretty much at max range. Well, landed the initial stun at max range.
Yeah. Then she pressed R.
Yeah.
And Q. Q as well, I mean, you
yeah.
know, on a stun target.
True.
But it was good. As Joinby is going to pick up the player of the game here on the Galio, he was really the one making the early plays with the roaming Galio. He got multiple teleport plays. And even towards the end, there were multiple times where he was able to shore up some of the fights that were close, weren't necessarily in FPX's favor.
Yep.
So I do agree with this one.
He was a really big factor in slowing down the Jace in the early stages and helping the Camille actually get ahead, so it was really good there. So much value on the Galio, also punishing the wave mismanagement by ShowMaker in the first couple of waves. And all of this aside, I mean, I gave him player of the game. I don't know what the other votes ended up being. But, yeah, FPX comes out on top. And I mean, I predicted them to win after the draft. Well, on the desk we did.
Yeah.
But it was much closer of a game between these two. And how it came down to that final Baron push against the Nexus and then the turnaround Nexus race is very surprising.
Yeah, absolutely. And FPX, they do a lot of things right. I mean, I love their early pressure. I like their compositions that they draft as well. They really try to get in your face. Even Chris, at sometimes he looks like he's inting, but at other times it's like really pog engages. Like they have a really nice lineup, and I think they will do pretty well in the semifinals. But again, ending their games, that seems to be one obvious sticking point that we have noticed from the 3 games we watched today. And maybe it's a little bit too safe when they are so far ahead. And we saw that was the one time Damwon nearly proved that they, if they do play that safe, there are some weaknesses that can happen, especially against pick champions like the Syndra that, can pull off plays like ShowMaker did. So I believe we're just waiting for the interview with probably, I mean, it can be anyone from the team, as we learned from the last interview. So maybe it can be Khan this time, but probably going to be Joinby. And, yeah, just waiting to hear from him over at the LPL Arena.
Would you say that game was kind of like a Pog Champ or like a Pog U? Or do you think it was a Poggers?
I think Pog Champ is probably the most accurate, right? I wasn't like face against the screen like a Pog U.
Okay.
And I don't think it was as crazy as a Poggers is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my official analysis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
That was very astute analysis, Valdez.
Yes, that's why I'm here.
I can tell.
I don't know much about Dioxys or whatever.
Deoxys. You have to look it up during the break.
Okay,
yeah.
I will. Yeah.
But you know about Joe?
Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my good friend. We had the music stop. I thought we were cutting to the interview, but I guess that's not the case. They're just like trying to make this even a little bit more awkward. Like just remove all the background noise, just like the Korean casters stop talking. They all just like turn around and stare at us. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
shouldn't have said you knew about Joe.
Huh?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
okay.
It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
That's
We have
good.
one more game tonight.
We do.
This has been very interesting, by the way.
Speed run.
This is a gauntlet.
Yeah.
That I've never. 3-minute breaks or something. 3 minutes.
There was a lot of eating
好的，欢迎来到我们的赛后采访。那我们今天邀请，
那我们今天邀请
到的是 Joinby 来接受我们的采访。Could you say hello to our audience？
大家好，我是 FunPlus 中单Joinby。
好的，欢迎Joinby。那首先第一个问题，因为现在已经是锁定了 半决赛，然后半决赛我们的赛制比较有趣一点，是第一局盲选模式嘛？那你会不会觉得比较期待那个盲选模式呢？
我是很期待我们就 BO5的半决赛的第一把，是因为盲选模式是我职业生涯是第一把打的，就是我说比赛。但我觉得其实这个对我们来说有点亏，因为 LCK 的选手有些选手是打过这种盲选，因为之前有这种规则嘛。但我觉得还行，因为我们的 FPX 这个战队啊，就英雄池大家的英雄池都比较深，尤其是我，所以我觉得还行吧，比较期待这次半决赛。
The first question, you just secured a semifinal, so are you excited to play the blind pick format? And the doing this answer is that I'm very excited and looking forward to play the blind pick format because this is very first time of my entire professional life, and also I don't think this is very advantage for us because the LCK players they did play that before, so they may be very experienced. And also, I think we have a very large champion pool, especially me, so we can deal with that kind of situation. 下一个问题，因为刚刚这一把嘛，你就是有做到非常非常棒的一点，就是 TP 绕后。当时为什么会直接决定去偷家呢 ？So the second question, actually you just teleport on the top side of the map and to backdoor them. So why did you choose to backdoor them?
那不是这样的，因为前面情况是这样的，我先让那个可汗推上路线，是因为我们下路那个高地被推了嘛，然后我们是劣势方，他们正常来说等一下要推我们的中路，然后这样就算我们在高地那里就是打了一波完美的团，他对面那个5个人被我们团灭了，兵线是很差，我们是一波不了，所以前面我让那个可汗推一波线，不要让他回来，然后他们想推我们中路高地或者那个主堡的时候就让他那个踢回来，然后后面是因为他们被我们追，然后我就跟他们说打断他们那个回程，然后我就 TP 了，因为我们那波我记得大水有 TP 嘛，后来大水踢过来了。
Actually, at that time we have very bad situation because they have the minion advantage in their favor, in boss side and also in the mid side. So if they can have the very good team fight, so they can head into the mid lane to push in the mid. But we did a very good job on the team fight, and then I just asked Kang to keep split pushing on the top side of the map and to stop them, don't let them back to the base. Then I just teleport to the top side and backdoor their enemy team. 下一个问题，因为我知道今天是已经跟 LCK 的2个中路选手非常有名的选手交手过了，所以你觉得交手之后感觉怎么样呢 ？So you went up against the LCK millionaires, Faker and the ShowMaker. So what's the experience to play against them?
其实今天压力挺大的，因为今天我们这次 MSC 的对手都很厉害嘛，每个队的中单都很厉害。但其实之前我平时都打训练赛，跟 LCK 战队打训练赛的时候，每一把都被单杀，在塔下就等队友这种。但今天是虽然比赛没有被单杀，但单杀我的好像是被奈子单杀了，没办法，大家都很厉害的，除了我。
Actually, I'm under a lot of pressure to play against the LCK millionaires because they are super strong. And in the scrims, I'm kind of smashed by all the millionaires of LCK teams. I kind of got solo killed every time, and I sit and wait for my teammates in the mid lane tower. But this time, I'm very luckily didn't get killed by the millionaires, got solo killed by them, but I just got solo killed by Knight. It's very unfortunately. 那最后一个问题，因为网上有传言说你们的这个 CEO 建议你们团建要去戈壁徒步，是真的吗 ？So there's a saying that the CEO of FunPlus Phoenix recommend you guys to travel through the Gobi Desert. Is that true?
我这边选手们是没有听过这个消息，我不知道是其他人听到还是没有，反正我是没有听到过这个消息。
Actually, I don't know about that. Because I never heard about that kind of saying. 所以最后，如果说你们真的有去这样的一个戈壁徒步的话，你觉得谁能够幸存下来的 ？So who can survive if you have actually this kind of trip to the Gobi Desert?
好像都活不下来，我们这边。
No one survives. OK, thank you. 谢谢DWG来接受采访，我们的赛后采访到此先告一段落。
Thank you very much, Candace and Doinby. That was a challenging interview, I can imagine, for Candace. So shout out to her for translating everything that the very talkative Doinby had to say in that one. Very much appreciate it. And I'm sure FPX are feeling pretty good about themselves right now as they get the 2-1 and they move on to the knockout stage. We don't know if they're going to be second or first. We'll have to take a closer look at tiebreakers after the win, depending on who does win this one. And of course, that will change seeding once we do get into the knockout stage. But more importantly than that, we do have to decide which team is going to be the last one to make it into the top side. It's, I would say, according to the predictions, the top 2 teams here in the group, at least in the minds of most of the casters before the day started.
You know what's pretty interesting? Red side has almost won every game. Today, except for the throw. the
T1 Damwon one?
The top esports Damwon.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
So that's pretty interesting. So red side is looking a little strong here.
Yeah.
In tonight's series, and T1 is they end up losing. I think that's really just going to shock everyone, as well as just flip everyone's predictions completely around.
For sure. They were the favorites coming into this one. But guys, quick commercial break. When we come back, the final game of the night.